It is 11 o'clock on Thursday, and for those of you who ended up seeing my schedule, I said I was going to stream 11 o'clock today, so I'm going to do it. I need to find a better way to post my schedule because I have it on the Blue Box Discord, but I feel like I need it other places too. That's its own thing. Oh, right, him. Okay, that's for later. Let's leave a few pages in space, and we will go with back to that. Say hi in the chat if you are watching. I don't hold it against you if you don't. Fair enough. You know, at least now. Good chance. Okay. Oh, so BB said... No, not BB. B has said that she would come later in the night. So that was fun. So... Oh, right. It's Rogue Trader Stream Night, which means I need to do the Rogue Trader Stream Night thing. I was so busy getting the thing set up to say it was a Rogue Trader stream before I actually started streaming, so that the video would say Warhammer 40k stream. If you change the title of the stream mid-video, it doesn't change it when you mid-stream. It does not change the video. There we go. Yeah, unless you have the VODs available for different times for subscribers and stuff. So that's a whole other thing, and I need to get to affiliate first, which means I need 20 more people to follow me. But so that's a whole exciting thing. Welcome. My name is Lee. Kind of they/them vibes today, but he or she is fine. Yeah, I just took a shower after work, so I'm sorry my hair is kind of ridiculous looking. So I have this. I always say that this is my most important world building tool, because if you have a cool idea and then don't write it down, you no longer have your cool idea, because you'll forget it. And if the off chance you don't, it's always better to have it written down so you can consult later. So I had that going. Oh, that's my original copy of Chart 1. Okay, so what I have is, so I don't know how many of you are familiar with Warhammer 40k. I'm going to assume that you are vaguely familiar with the lore. If you are not, let me know in the chat, and I will explain. I could talk about Warhammer 40k lore for hours. It's a lot of lore, and I am very much excited by it and interested in it, and I want to share interest with everybody. So I do tend to ramble on, and I wouldn't be able to... There are a lot of videos explaining it much better than I ever could. Yeah, I actually got into Warhammer 40k because of the lore. That way, if you will look to that side, you will see, if I'm doing this right, yeah, there I am. The Rogue Trader book. So, 2017, Fantasy Flight Games lost the license to print the Warhammer 40k RPG books. Stop it. Sorry. I have a streaming buddy. His name is McVenner. He is a fish. And, actually... So I'm doing dice right now. What I can do, which I think would be kind of fun, is... There he is. Say hi, McVenner. Or not. You don't have to. Hi. Yeah, you're on camera. Hey there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So let me just... Yes, this is my laptop screen I'm going to do before I turn the camera afterward. I mean, I don't mind if you see my room per se, but it's kind of messy and ridiculous, so we'll just do that, and I'll pop it like this. Hi there, welcome. What was I doing? Oh yes, I had a pen. I put my pen down and didn't know where I put it, so that's fun. We'll find another pen. I have a lot of them kicking around. In any case, I am... So when I do Warhammer 40k stream, Rogue Trader is... I am creating a Rogue Trader crew. Hopefully I will get a chance to use it at some point. I do run Rogue Trader games, and for the crew of the Effective Line, that's their ship, So I built up another ship. I have quite a few characters built up here. Called the... Here we have Experius Primus. Actually named that, I think. So that's cool. She's coming on the stream later. She promised she'd... Not on the stream. I still have a lot to learn technically before I can make that happen. But... Give me 1 minute. Where's that? Oh! Got another pen. Told you I could have some. Pens are important. And this one does... Right, yes, okay, good. So, sorry about that, little outline. So I've been working on this ship. It's, and I'm kind of weaving the tale. And of course, as soon as I find another pen, I find where I put the... Now I have 2 pens, so that's bonus. I'm going to put flail snow over here to keep it out of the way. Okay. And that can just go over here for now. So I created the ship, and I've been randomly rolling up characters to fill the ship with a crew. It's a very exciting thing to do. Okay, that rhymed. I did not mean to rhyme. Yeah, I've been using random dice rolls to create these characters and that are aboard the ship, and fill out a crew of rogue traders, of extremely powerful people who are pretty much above the law for anything short of heresy against the Emperor, which is taken very seriously in the Warhammer 40k universe. And you'd have to be, like, actual heresy, like, colluding with Chaos God's heresy, not just, disloyalty, which is enough to get a regular civilian executed, but rogue traders, you just have to pay lip service. Because you have the warrant of trade, and that lets you, do all sorts of things. Truck with Xenos, any planet laws, especially if you take the ship off the planet. Any planetary, forces are going to bend over backward to help a rogue trader. It's an incredibly powerful position to have, and the only way to get a warrant of trade is either to earn it through exemplary service to the Imperium, or to inherit it, because it is a thing, and a lot of rogue trader dynasties had them for like generations, so it's pretty cool. What was I going to say? Yes, so Moonsaka, different planet. All right. So far on the ship, and I rolled out the dimensions of the ship. It has a crew of 26,000, give or take a few. That's just regular crew members. They probably have names and lives and dislikes and likes as any do, but I'm not doing out every single one of them yet. What I do have is Janthine, who is Hive World. Yes, Janthine. And then we have Odette. And then we have Xyle and Herman, who he and Janthine actually grew up together because I rolled, and I've the Warhammer 40k for making characters has this chart, right? It's a random rolling chart that basically it's a homeworld, early life setup, reason that they're end up as a rogue trader crew as opposed to just landbound to some random planet to live their whole lives and serve the Emperor. Something about them that makes them special. You've got built-in tragic backstory, something terrible that happened to them, and then you have why they do what they do, a primary motivation. and finally career path. And you're supposed to choose, the choices on each line are narrowed based on what you chose on the previous line. You can go up from your career path, which is sort of like in D&D classes. What's your specialty and what kind of skills and talents you can take throughout the game and how you level up. I've never heard of multi-classing a career path, but any skill or talent that is not on your career path you can take at the discretion of GM, basically. So yes, there's that, and fish cam. Oh yes, so there's that, and if I got another camera, I could have a fish cam all the time, but I do not have another camera yet. I keep saying yet. I am broke. That's not happening. For a little while anyway. At least until this month's rent's paid, then we can talk. What I was gonna say was, it's such a cute little fish too. Yeah. So I rolled each set of choices randomly. And on this chart, and I ended up with 2 arch militants who are masters of all things weaponry and war and tactics and stuff like that. Adet and Zio, and then a void master and an explorator who actually grew up on the same. What I was saying was I rolled randomly for this, completely randomly, and I rolled up exactly the same path for, I think we calculated out, did some math calculating out what the odds were, and it was less than 1% chance that we would roll out the exact same path all the way through until the last career path. So what I did was, given that they were so similar, I was like, alright, they're probably from the same background, and then I, basically, the bad thing, the built-in backstory for them was press ganged, so I said, well, okay, they were press ganged by 2 different groups, and therefore that's where their split in career path came from. And, to be fair, I could have created an entirely different character with, and backstory, even using all the same beats, like, I would have had to invent an entire another hive world, but if he had been from a different hive world, his religious affiliation could have been family-based instead of as an orphanage, the way it was for Janthine, and then falling out the family was the renegade part, and then press ganged by someone entirely different and still wanting the same things. I could have done it that way, but I decided that given the extraordinary unlikeliness of them having the exact same thing, it seemed fitting that they were fated to reconnect. I also invented 2 planets. So Warhammer 40k, there are arguments on forums about whether the number of planets the Imperium controls numbers in the millions or billions. The math on millions failed to take into account the terraforming capabilities of and the abilities to have research stations and moons and such. So I would say I would be more inclined toward billions, but because if you have more than 500 million and double it, that's automatically billion. So I'm leaning more to billion, but it was, if you have that many planets, basically, it's very easy to say, okay, this is a planet that exists, and set it in the Warhammer 40k world, and then you world build how do they interact with the Imperium, how did they become, were they first settled, if it's not ancient Terra, they were first settled during the Dark Age of Technology, and or afterward, and which was it, and when, if during Dark Age of Technology, when did they reconnect with the Imperium, when were they reconquered, what, was that a difficult process, and were they ever unconquered and then reconquered again, because some planets do have cycles of that over the thousands of years the Imperium has existed. So it's a lot. And the Imperium has existed for 10,000 years. So there's gonna be number history and planets. So you kind of it's an interesting thing to play with and to create. And of course, each culture has its own unique vibe. And so I've since created 2 planets for my Warhammer streams. I feel like I've been explaining a lot about the Warhammer streams that, and not actually doing a lot of Warhammer stuff. It's only 16 minutes. It's fine. But so tonight I need to. Next time on Tuesday, when I do my next Warhammer stream, because I do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to come up with like a streamlined version of how to say all of that. But in the meantime, we have a lot of... so what I... last time I was doing Warhammer, I was doing world building, and we came up with Xyle's homeworld. I still need a name for Xyle's homeworld. It's actually really cool. It's a death world with these volcanic vents that tend to erupt at unpredictable times and kill anyone in their general vicinity if they do, which complicates things. Also, heavy monsoon flooding and or desert areas, depending on, because of the way the continent's built, and it's swamp land that's been farmed, and it has a Mechanicus research station circling it. That's the only thing. People are impoverished. A lot of them die. There's a lot of stuff going on. Death worlds are a fun thing. Let's do here. Okay, so we'll need to organize this at some point, but we'll begin with a name. Actually, I just thought of a world building project that I'd put to the side that I could reopen as part of another stream, but that is for separate, another time. For right now, we're doing Warhammer 40k on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So let's, alright, I have a plan. I have like a vague idea of the captain of this ship. And the captain almost always holds the career path of rogue trader, although I've had exceptions in games occasionally. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have this dice tray. I'm going to take some of these dice out of the dice tray to free up some room. I'm going to take the flails now. This mini, by the way, it was 3D printed by Maciek ED. It is super cool. I won it in a giveaway on his channel. And it was just amazing. And Curse of Extinction, also really cool. You know, cool show if you get a chance to check it out. Yeah. And say hi on the chat, also. I know I continuously say that, but anytime you want to, I am very chill. I will say that if you are intentionally homophobic or transphobic, I will find a way to kick you out. But other than that, just, you know, I'll, you know, just be nice to each other, and if I ask you to drop a topic, drop it. That's all I ask. Yeah, don't, and if you're gonna argue about points, be polite about it, and like I said, drop it if I say drop it. I think that's, I trust you guys, at least for now. If we need more rules, we'll take them, but for now at least, I trust you not to, you know, get out of hand. Okay. There is my dice tray rearranged. Let me show you it now. It does cover up the way I have them stacked. So there we go. That gives me room to roll. So if we're starting at the bottom, let me show you the chart. I have it here. We have origin path. Here we go. That one. All right. Let me pop over here. Hi. So you can still see me. So, usually I start at the top, roll a d6, and then basically the way you roll is that the path has to be directly to the top or bottom of the one next to it, or one to the right of that one, or one to the left of that one. For example, if you were going upward, for example, and you ended up with Vengeance. You ended up with Voidmaster, and then you could do... you wanted to be a Voidmaster. I usually give the example downwards. So then you would have Endurance, Fortune, and Vengeance as your 3 options for motivation. And then if you ended up with Vengeance, you would have 3 choices for Trials and Travails, which is basically a built-in tragic backstory. Press-Ganged, Calamity, and Shiplorn. And if you ended up on, say, Press-Ganged, you would have then 3 things that make you more, why you ended up in space instead of just living on some planet, which is Tainted, Criminal, or Renegade. If you picked Renegade, you would then have Scapegrace, Stubjack, or Child of the Creed. If you went with Scapegrace, then you would be either from a Death World, a Void World, or a Forge World. Then, when you had all of those lined up, you could then begin to build your backstory. Now, there is a little section that says you can allow for your players to choose a broader choice of... you don't have to use the origin path continuous system. You can just have them pick one from every line randomly, but it does say that if you're letting your players do that, you should have them be really familiar with the Warhammer 40k lore. The idea is that you could play this game and not be entirely up to date on the lore, which is... being entirely up to date on the lore is a monumental task, basically. So it was sort of a way to guide how things would work. But the idea is that you should be careful granting that much freedom. When I had players, I allowed them to, like, one outside of that range. So it was, like, the 4, I let them go one more over for 2 of the lines, I think. I had a way, I was going through with them and offering them extra choices, and but that's completely GM's discretion. And since you have this whole lovely trial thing, I've been rolling randomly as a path, going up, and I mostly I'd started with the top, roll the d6, and then I have a d3, which I would roll as a to go from there, then on each row. But since we're starting with a rogue trader, as our, which actually only offers one. See, because there are so many more career paths, the ones on the end, Astropath, Transcendent, and Rogue Trader only offer one motivation, because you have to be, they're the ones that are most unique that you would do that. So, our first 2 choices that were therefore made for us, I could do evens odds for the next, but no, I'm gonna stick with the clear path, which means prestige is the only one. And then that gives us 2 choices for the next one, and then depending on how that goes, it could give us either 2 or 3 choices. For 2 choices, what we can do is called evens odds. You can do it with any, let's use a d10, no, that's a d10, this d10. I'll keep a d10 for evens odds. It's a way of doing 50-50, and you can use any die. I use evens odds in quite a few of my charts, most notably, I'll show you the chart because it's really cool. This is my favorite chart I have. This one, I specify d12, but it could be any die, it just has to be a one with an even number of sides, which there are very few dies with odd numbers of sides. So, yeah, even, and you assign 1 choice to even and 1 choice to odds, and then you roll, and if you get an even number, you go one way, if you get an odd number, you go the other. This one is for gender and sexuality. We will roll this for our character eventually, but first we're going to roll our way up the table. Should be interesting. let's do it. So, we're going to go origin path. Here, I'm going to scoot you over a little so you can still see me. So we're going to start at the bottom. I usually start at the top. So that'll be fun. Let's go to prestige. Now, each of these, except for the career path, which also has its own, has a whole host of mechanical, so that wouldn't be plithy, but each of the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, each stage gives you certain mechanical advantages or disadvantages as you go up. They have mechanical effects, which plays into how it ties into the rest of the role-playing system, the other games in the same system, if that makes sense. Dark Heresy, which is the Inquisition, Only War, which is the Imperial Guard one, stuff like that. So there is that. But yeah. So we got Prestige, which is the only option, and I will go. Let me open something up quickly. I can't figure out. I'm not great at. What's the technical term? Streaming yet. I'm still learning. So we are gonna go this way. But so I can't figure out how to share without not being able to see the chat. I want to figure out how to. So I could pop the chat out and. Huh. Whoa. Okay, hang on. That's not good. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me put the chat back in there. Okay, why is it... Alright, let's do this. Let's just do that. And this, and hang on a sec. Sorry, I'm still learning this new... Okay, well, that needs to go away. Good to know I can have it, but yes, I want to remove that. Thank you. Or apparently, I can't remove it, so that's fun. Anyway. Boom. Okay, there. Now it's gone. Okay, that is very exciting stuff. So we are gonna do... I'm sorry I scared anyone away with my lack of tech skill. We're gonna have to do another experimental stream with that to figure out, because I know I can do a screen share. So what I would do is then move the text out and then set it and then pull it down. Yeah, that would be a thing. It would be helpful if I could have more than one monitor. I think that would make that work much easier, and I don't, so that would be a very wonky setup thing I would have to do. But now that I know it's possible, I'll consider it, because I couldn't do... Yeah, that would... I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, just different. Okay, I'm thinking through the implications of this. Before I get too bogged down this, what I wanted to do was pull up the, what is it? Dark Voyage. Alright, so each path in the origin, here we go. So each block in the origin path has a paragraph or two of text describing it. The ones that describe the type of homeworld are the most notable. But well, and I usually, when I do these kind of random character creations, what I do is I read the text explaining what it is, and then I'll you know, explain what the mechanical effect is, and then note that down over here. And then I will have, and then I'll consult the chart on to what the options are going up, and whether I need to roll a evens odds or a D3. The D3, what I have for that is actually, you'll have to be patient with me, is dice cam. Here we go. Alright, I guess we're going to have to get rid of the... do I ever want anything over the... No, I don't. So I can just move it up. Move it to here for now. There we go. We'll have to change this up later. But you can see here, we got this die here, which is the D3. This is a D10 we're going to use for evens odds. For the D3, if we don't just end up going along the edge, which... if you keep rolling 50-50, it's a possibility. Is plus. So it has two sides that have plus signs on it, two sides that are blank, and two sides that have minus signs on them. Usually it's used, the plus are 3, the blanks are 2, the minus is 1, for a game called Fate, which is what... it's a tabletop RPG system. I have the core rulebook. I have not played it in a while. We'd have to... I could go have a special day on that. But, in the pluses are successes and the minuses are failures, and there's a whole slew of what that means and what... what needs to be done with that. So, oh yes, but, so, I'm going to do this. So prestige. Let me reiterate that. Let me just check one thing. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, so prestige. Let me read that. The Imperium of Mankind is a grand hierarchy, and that, to your eyes, is a ladder reaching from the least peasant to the blinding heights of the God Emperor's own holy terra. You've dedicated your life to climbing that ladder in search of the highest station you can reach, the greatest power, the most important position of leadership, the utmost influence. Wealth, renown, and relationships with the powerful are only important insofar as they enable you to reach that next step. All too many fools never reach upward, but you bear them no ill will. The position they might have ascended to will be yours, and they will be your loyal servants in the years ahead. Alright. So, prestige. So, effect. You gain your choice of talented. Choose one talent. So that's a group of talents, or peer, choose one talent. So, I'm going to write down that we get one of those, and then I will essentially after we have all of our information and see what we've gotten, we can make informed decisions about what we want that to be, which talent we want to have as part of that. So, we look here. Prestige, we have 2. Dark Voyage or High Vendetta. Ooh, drama. Okay. So, I'm going to roll it out. That would be an evens odds. So we're going to move the D. Let me put the dice cam back. And dice cam. Boom. Okay, so that would be an evens odds. So we're using the D10. Let me put the good mojo. Always keep your highest number up. Although for evens odds, it really doesn't matter. But, so, that, let's say Dark Voyage is even. I'm going to write this down too. And Dark Voyage odd would be Vendetta. Okay. And if so, we're going to need to figure out what the enemy is, and that's going to be a whole separate. This might take our character in unprecedented directions. We shall see. Boom. 9. Okay. High Vendetta. Alright, let me see what the deal with that. High Vendetta. Okay, we're going up the edge. So far. We're going to put this back on that. So we have a High Vendetta. That. We got, what else we got? Let's see what it is. So they have High Vendettas and Vengeance, which are slightly different. Well, they give you different mechanical. Honor, friendship, or loyalty are not mere empty words or worthy ideas for you. They are tools for survival. Without your ship, your crewmates, and your allies, you are alone in the cold darkness of space and prey to the enemies and rivals without number. With them, you are protected, you have a home, and backup when others seek your life. This knowledge was brought home to you when you and your allies were caught up in a deadly vendetta with another faction. Vengeance is more, I guess, individual, someone that did you wrong. Oh. A murderous feud that consumed your life and sent friends to their graves. Whether your enemies or a rival crew, a noble house, cult, cartel, or outlaw gang, blood was spilled and vengeance taken. Regardless of whether your side was victorious or was left tasting bitter defeat in the end, what matters is that you fought and you would do so again. So High Vendetta is someone really, really doesn't like you. Vengeance is you really, really don't like someone else. Blood will have blood. You gain your choice of the Die Hide or Paranoia talent, and gain the Inquiry skill. Okay, so let's go with Inquiry skill. Okay. That's blood, now brook no insults. You will allow no serious offense to your honor and person or those under your protection to pass unchallenged, meaning threats with threat and violence. You may make a willpower test to avert this if you wish, modified by the provocation and the consequences, which is set by the GM, of succumbing to your rage. So, I'm going to put that as brook no insults. And then... Okay. So, somebody really doesn't like the crew, and they've had run-ins with a group in the past. That's going to be interesting. That is going to be... Ooh, actually... Well, we'll see where we go with all of this, but I've been kind of piecing together the story of how the crew came together, where certain crews met and stuff from their shared backstory tidbits, and it's quite an interesting thing. Okay, so High Vendetta. Let's see, what else we got here? Which is... chosen by Destiny or Zealot. Okay. Let's say evens on Destiny and odds on Zealot. Let's do it. Yeah, we'll switch up. Okay, so evens, Destiny, odds, Zealot. I'm gonna roll the this blue d10. Let's see. Right, got it right here. Odds again, 9 again. Okay, okay. This is why. Well, it's actually a good call for putting on the highest number up, because it rolled its second highest number twice now, which is always a really good thing if you're not using it to roll randomly so much as, say, roll damage or, roll checks and stuff. So, but that puts us in an interesting... Oh, that gives us 3 for the next one, which is nice. Okay, let's pop this down. So that gives us odd, which is 9, which is Zealot. Okay. Our captain is a religious man. Let's see. Let me read this out for you, because this stuff is actually really interesting. It kind of gives you a better idea of the setting. If you have any questions about terms used or reasoning, feel free to ask. You possess faith so great that it has carried you far beyond the mundane life that would otherwise have been your lot. Whether it is something that you've always been part of you, or was born in you from amidst a battlefield, or came to you in a revelation where others merely believe, you have certainty. It is this faith that has led you on a pilgrim's path to the stars, where you bring the God Emperor's will to the unbeliever and the needy, to protect the righteous and punish the enemies of mankind. Okay. So, choose one of the following results and apply it to your character. Oh, right. So, I've also been rolling for these. So, each of the, what's the title? Lure of the Void ones has a 3 particular strains you can get, and each with different slightly different. It has 3 sub reasoning, if you will, and I've been rolling for those as well, because I wanted to spice it up a lot. So we have Blessed Scars, Unnerving Clarity, or Favorite of the Faithful. Good to know. Okay, let's go with we got, let's do it. Let's turn my, oh, hi everyone. Welcome to our little channel. This is more viewers than I've ever had, I think, ever. So, wow. Okay. Hi. Wow. Okay. Thank you for rating in. I really appreciate it. I'm pretty sure, it was let's see. I believe it was from Lord Gazoom, but yes, I really, really appreciate it. Yes, I super appreciate it. And, wow. Okay, that's really cool. So, for everyone new, welcome. Which I think is everybody, because I only had like 1 or 2 viewers before. Alright, so welcome. My name is Lee. We're doing Warhammer 40k. Hi. Pronoun kind of the they them vibe today, but he or she is fine. I'm chill about that. Yeah, I usually do character creation and world building. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do Pathfinder 1st Edition, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do Warhammer 40k. And I roll up random, character. So let me see if any of you had any questions. I'm doing really well. Okay, it's just a raid emoji. It's good. I just wanted to make sure none of you were asking about anything. Anything. Hey, it's great if you love 40k. Then you absolutely can stay. So, a little bit of context. This is the origin path up here. That's the rogue trader. No, we go point this way. I remember. We have to point the opposite way because okay. That's the rogue trader book. So Fantasy Flight Games in the early 2010s created like real RPGs, and tabletop strategy has never been my style because I always really like the roleplay aspect of. Oh, hi B. Oh B, you came. You came just as everyone else came too. So welcome. Also, tell the cat I say hi back. Yes, I really do want to get to 50 because then I can freaking have affiliate level, and then we can go from there and do all sorts of cool things. But you know, if you don't want to follow, that's cool. But it's a little click and it helps a lot. Right. So 40K. Right. Back in early 2010s, they had they created the whole series of games, RPGs. One for the Inquisition, one for the Imperial Guard, one for Space Marines, and one for Rogue Trader. I believe there might have been another one as well. But what? Excellent. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. So they created all these games, and I didn't find out about this, of course, until much later, after they had lost the license in 2017 and no longer officially published them. So you can't buy them directly from the company anymore. Oh, good night. Yes, absolutely. If you have to get up early, don't feel obligated to stay, but thank you for following, and I do run earlier streams, so good night. So I created this, the stream. When I had the stream, I started, I brought Warhammer 40K because I really, really liked playing the roleplay aspects. I loved back when I first discovered the lore, I fell in love with the lore. Not so much the strategy game, but the complex lore created for the world. So I started, as soon as I found out this existed, I managed to procure a copy and started playing. And I have been working on randomly generating a couple characters. I have the Experimus Primus. Yes. All of the fun stuff. Yeah, watching the lore videos used to be a great habit of mine. So, if any of you are not familiar with the lore, I'll try to explain it as I go. I made the mistake with, actually, Phantom NJ of trying to, I had a whole setup, I had pre-gen characters and like an adventure planned, and then was trying to explain all of Warhammer 40K lore in a few minutes as a prequel to a game, and that did not go well. So, I'm kind of going to go along and feed you guys tidbits. If you have any questions, let me know. I think that's probably the best way to do it. But we have a ship called the Experimus Primus, and it is a rogue trader ship. We are working on the captain now. We don't know who the captain is yet. I'm rolling him up randomly using the origin path system that they have in the book. So we're doing that. And, but we have so far 2 archmilitants. Janthine was a Mechanicus Explorador, and who was on the ship because of, when I rolled randomly for certain things on the ship, it ended up with a old part from the Dark Age of technology, something so old and so well preserved that the Mechanicus was interested in. It was a holy relic, I believe. So, of course, they sent an Explorator, and so then you had Odette and Zael, who were the Archmilitants, and Harman, who was a Voidmaster, aboard another ship and got roped into working on this one through various trials. And, yeah, so I've been working through this ship and creating all these Explorators and things. So what I was doing tonight was, here, let me pull this up and show you all how this goes. There is an origin path. Hopefully you can read this. It's a little tricky to read. Basically, the bottom is the career path, which is sort of like if you play D&D class. So, Astropath Transcendent, I don't know why I can't talk, Arch Militant, Voidmaster, Explorator, with the Adeptus Mechanicus, Missionary, Seneschal, Navigator, as in the abhuman, I guess race or species would be, I don't know quite what the word for abhuman type, and then Rogue Trader, someone who has a warrant of trade. And so I'm, of course, for the captain of the ship, I was going to... No, that's cool. I was helping you make your character earlier, actually. You were, yeah, I was helping you make the character. It's a fun, you were asking me for suggestions on what to take. Yeah. So, yeah, so all of them have their strengths and weaknesses, of course. But, since I was going to do the captain, I was doing Rogue Trader. And the way the origin path chart works, is it's built in that you, basically the choices you make on each line affect the ones you can make on the next line and the next line and the next line and so on. And then, and you can either start from the top or the bottom. So you can start with the planet of origin, or you start with your career path that you want to play. And then you choose a contiguous path. So, it's either the one directly above or below, or the same position on the row, or the one directly to the left of that, or directly to the right of that. For Rogue Trader, that complicates things because you only have one choice on the motivation line, and then that gives you only two choices on the next one up. So we've been doing, I have this fudge die that I've been using as a D3, and this one. And I have my D10 that I've been using to roll evens odds for when I have two choices, and what we've been doing is going up the chart. Usually I would roll a D6 for the top row. For all the others, what I did was roll a D6 for the top row, and then roll the D3 or the D2, then the D3, and then if we got one on the edge, we'd start with the D2 with the evens odds, and keep going down from there. But what I did with the Rogue Trader is I said, well, okay, the captain has to be a Rogue Trader, so we're going to pick that on the row, and then, of course, that leads to prestige on the motivation row, and then roll our way randomly up from there. Each line on the chart has mechanical impact and significant backstory concerns. So it actually really does change the way your character ends up. And yeah, each of them has mechanical effects. For example, so we have Rogue Trader, which I'm not writing down the mechanical effects of Rogue Trader because that's a whole separate, that's pretty much the entire character, like, class. So the number of abilities are intense. But, for example, Prestige gives you one extra talent, either extreme talent in one skill or a group in the Imperium that you consider your peers. So Pure Mechanicus or Pure Pure Mechanicus or Pure Noble Houses or Pure the Insane, or just a few of them. And then from High Vendetta, we get the Inquiry skill, and then the Die Hard or Paranoia talent, and then we get Brook No Insult, which means that anytime the captain or someone under his command is insulted, they would be almost entirely up to taking vengeance, contingent on a failed willpower save, a willpower save to revert that, with the any modifiers being at GM's discretion. So that's what we got from that line. From Zealot, well, here's where I was when everyone raided in and suddenly we got interrupted in our work, which I really appreciate, by the way, and also all of you stuck around. I know it's not for everybody, but I do always appreciate when people stick around, and I don't usually have this many viewers, and I just, and say hi in the chat, like, talk to me. I always appreciate it, and if you have any questions or suggestions for names, for, how I should go about it, for what talents or skills, anything, I always appreciate suggestions in the chat. But Zealot, each of the Lure of the Void, each block along this line, this row. Oh, sorry, I realize you can't see. Each block along the row, the row of the void, Lure of the Void. Each box along the Lure of the Void row has 3 sub lures that you could take. For Zealot, it's Blessed Scars, which is +10 to Intimidate, -10 to Charm, and 1 Bionic Limb. And then Unnerving Clarity, it's +5 Willpower, but -5 Fellowship. Or, you get +5 Willpower, but you also suffer -5 Fellowship or D10 Insanity points. Or Favorite of the Faithful, it's +5 Fellowship and Pure Ecclesiarchy, but -5 Toughness. So, I was thinking that since we're rolling this character very randomly, we could use the fudge die, which I will show off here. This one here, this one here, to roll one of random 3. So I was going to put, so the fudge die, for those of you who don't know, 2 sides with plus, 2 sides are blank, and then 2 sides have minuses. It allows you to have roll for 3 on a table with 3 options, as we're doing now, or roll 3 points of damage, 1d3 worth of damage, with plus being 3, the blank side being 2, and the minus side being 1. It also is used in a RPG system called Fate. That's where they were first invented, this fudge die, but I tend to use them for D3s because I tend to play Pathfinder, and a lot of damage dealing cantrips in Pathfinder only deal D3 damage because other cantrips, that would make sense to deal much more. So, yeah, so since I needed the D3 for that, I was like, well, hey, we have these fudge die, and that works out well. So, so I'm going to roll it. I have stated what goes to what. Whenever I do rolls to randomly character, I tend to, now that I have this dice cam, I might as well, use it. So I've been, I'm rolling here so everyone can see it. So, boom. That's blank, which is Unwavering Clarity. All right. So Zealot, and we'll put Unwavering Clarity. Interesting. He's an interesting man. Okay, so far. Or woman. Or NB. So I have... I want to show this off now that I have more people watching. This is the chart that I have built. I'm going to put the this way for half a second. Just... I show this off almost every time. This is my main chart. I am super proud of this. Alright, this is my main achievement for this stream, I would say, is inventing this chart. Basically, it just allows me to roll randomly for gender and sexuality, which I think is kind of cool, and keeps me from doing too many characters who aren't straight, because I feel like, I'm going to make everyone disaster buys if I left my own devices, because you put a little bit of stuff into every character. Yeah, so everyone would be disaster buys, and it would just not be useful at all, so I try to keep to the chart, and sometimes it leads to interesting texture of things. Yes, the chart. Those of you who view the channel regularly will recognize the chart. It is one of my favorites. Okay, so, but that is last. We're gonna roll that last, and then we're gonna come up with a name. I could roll it randomly, or one of you could come up with a good name. If you're here when we get that far. Yes. What? Oh, yes. So back to the origin path. She wouldn't be a very interesting person. How about that? Let me bring that up. Ta-da! Okay, so we have, so far we're up on Zealot, and we have Unwavering Clarity, which gives us, let's see, +5 willpower. Also, each stage of the chart has like a paragraph of flavor text that I have been reading out because there's a lot of fun. The Zealot, you possess the faith so great that it has carried you far beyond the mundane life that you would otherwise have been your lot. Whether it is something that you has always been a part of you or was born in you amidst a battlefield or came to you in revelation where others merely believe, you have certainty. It is this faith that has led you on a pilgrim's path to the stars, where you will bring the God Emperor's will to the unbeliever and the needy, to protect the righteous and punish the enemies of mankind. So, it's pretty cool. Huh, interesting. I mean, I have played with that a little bit. The most recent character I had was actually, well, Tourmaline I specifically rolled randomly as straight. Ethan was the first time I played a gay man as a character. He was kind of cool, actually. Yeah, I mean, people do different things. I used to play characters who were straight, like straighter than I ever was, even back when I was pretending that I could stretch the definition of heterosexual to include myself. But that isn't even so. Yeah. So that is what we have for Zealot. And that brings us to the next row in the origin chart, which is Birthright. Oh, yes, here we go. So, Child of the Creed, which would make sense. Savant, astute scholar, or Vaunted, that is a wealthy individual. Wealthy and privileged in their own particular world. So I can see where this is going, because I have an idea of what, like, a little bit of a legacy, that this captain is part of a whole rogue trader family that is, has been descended, and so I think any of those would make sense, and then it's just which particular planet, but here we go. So we're gonna go with Zealot. So I'm going to say we're going to roll another fudge die. And as I always do, I'm going to assign which one to which before I roll. So we got Child of the Creed. We have Savant, and we have Vaunted. So plus is Child of the Creed. Minus is Savant, and blank side is Vaunted. Let's do it. Let me bring the dice can back up. That's this one. Alright, here we go. I'm going to roll it. Boom. That would be a plus. You can't. Yeah, it's a plus. Yeah, oh, you can't see it. Okay. Move out here a little. Yeah, that's plus. So, which, Child of the Creed, which there's a lot of sense for Zealot. So, okay. So, born and raised in a very religious setting, which is something. Okay, let's, I'll read out the, because it's always fun flavored text. I mean, if you really don't want me to read it, you can say so, but I do, nope, stop it. Always have fun reading these out. It was not until comparatively late in your youth that you set foot in a room in which stern gaze of the God Emperor was absent, and during your impressionable years you were shielded by the enfolding arms of the Ministorum from much of the hardship and uncertainty so many must endure. The unyielding visage of his statues was as much part of your upbringing as the zealous pure faith of those closest to you. Scriptural ritual lessons and priestly exhortations fill your memories, rising unbidden even in quiet moment, as though the aged white-haired clerics who taught you still remain by your shoulder in spirit, jealously guarding over your soul. All men hear the God Emperor's holy words if they are born under his rule, but you heard more than most before even reaching adulthood. And so that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's... And, okay, effect. Unshakable faith talent. So we +3 willpower, +3 fellowship, -3 weapon skill. Okay. +3 fellowship or +3 willpower. We already have -5 willpower. From unwavering. No, it was +5 willpower. So let me check this because I have very bad handwriting and I +5 willpower, but -5 fellowship. I should write that down too. I'm gonna say fellowship would be important for Rogue Trader, so we're gonna add a +3 fellowship. Kind of negate that a little bit. Right. So +3, so that's what that gives us. Anything else? The most mechanical effects come from your planet of origin, which is interesting. Which I really don't think matter for them, but we'll see. Shakeable faith, so +3 fellowship, but -3 weapon skill. Okay, that works. Now we have a last one, which is a hive world, a forge world, or a imperial world. Okay, I can make this work. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to roll it on a D3. Forge world, hive world, imperial world. I have a little bit of backstory kind of as I've been going up these charts, trying to reconcile in my head with the Rogue Trader line thinking that I've been trying to create for their backstory. And this is going to be interesting. So what we're going to do is I have the D3 here. Let's bring up the dice cam. There it is. May it roll well. Well, in this case, well is relative, so plus for Forge World, -5 World, blank side for Imperial World. Here we go. Forge World. Okay. This is going to be interesting, but you know what? I can work with this. And that was why he agreed to let an explorer, because he was raised by... That makes some sense, actually. And there's a whole branch, the Mechanicus, which would be the one that would ally with it. Okay, I think I know how this backstory makes sense. We're going to work with this. This is exciting. Okay. That's the one thing about rolling up the backstory. Sometimes they don't... You have to figure out how to make the backstories match up. Okay, so... But, you know what? I think this is... Hive Worlds, which we don't have. Forge Worlds, here we go. Forge Worlds are not oh, yes. Here we go. There's a whole other thing on Forge Worlds. There's a lot of... Okay, so the types of planets that people can be a home to have the most lore written about them. The others are like a paragraph each. These are pretty long, so I'm going to keep reading. Let me know in the chat if you're getting bored, but it's really cool. I think you'll enjoy it. You were born in the shadow of the Omniscience, and all your life you have been surrounded by the great wonders and dire terrors of the machine god's arts. Ever since you were born, you have been weighted, measured, codified, and tested so that your masters might find your place in the great pattern. This unforgiving process has fitted you well for survival and supremacy. The domains of the Adeptus Mechanicus are many, from the ceaseless industry of the iron realms of the forge worlds to labyrinthine fine orbitals and distant research outposts to the nomadic and self-contained wood caravans of the explorer fleet. They are an empire within an empire, distinct and yet interwoven with the fabric of the Imperium since its founding. Their masters are as ancient, wise, mysterious, and cold as the machineries they tend. Beyond the Forge Worlds, this home-world option also includes those born and raised on city-sites, orbital stations, Mechanicus-administered colonies, often called Dimenses, research outposts, relentless explorer fleet, or for the rites, rituals, and beliefs of the Omniscience also govern these places. Life on a Forge World. Forge Worlds, such as the Lathe Worlds of the Calixis sector, are the beating iron heart of the Imperium and are sovereign domain of the priesthood of Mars. They are given over to the demands of the vast macro-industries, too vital or rare to be entrusted to the petty domains of the imperial governors of hive worlds, and are extremely hungry for new resources to consume. Forge World's wheels never cease to turn. The reactors blaze and foundries thunder unendingly for millennia, turning out refined materials and technologies that meet the Imperium's needs. Forge Worlds are far more than the sum of their continent-spanning manufactories, however. Each is blessed with a high level of technological advancement than the wider Imperium as a whole, and many arcane wonders are commonplace in their baroque labyrinth of ferrocrete. No, stop it. Okay. I got it. My computer decided to do something stupid. There we go. Ferrocrete and steel. Forge Worlds are also house vast repositories of data and obscure lore. With as much as a third of any given Forge World's entire infrastructure consisting of endless scriptorums, mimic vaults, infotombs, and libraria attended in perpetuity by mindless drones and generations of archive adepts. Forge World's undisputed masters are the Magi of the cult Mechanicus, who rule with harsh precision and cold logic. To them, the human menials of their domain are little more than cogs and gears in the great machine, resources to be measured, graded, used to fit their worth. At their direction, the bulk of Forge World's population is utilized as skilled and trained labor force, whilst the brightest and best are inducted to the Adeptus Mechanicus itself. The more militant are chosen for the Scutari Tech Guard. Those deemed unworthy or irredeemable are fated to be recycled into servitor components, and indeed, servitors and drones are often far outnumber Forge World's free-willed population. Such is the price of failure. Despite their mechanic society and ceaseless industry, life for the average Forge World is little harsher than on most hive worlds. Each Forge World, regardless of its rigidity and forced order and cold wisdom of masters, is still home to very human ambition and apathy, still home to vice and virtue. The Mechanicus themselves, with their cogitator-enhanced minds and iron logics, are still prone to factionalism and schism, often for reasons quite incomprehensible to outsiders. Rivalries and feuds simmer between sects and individual magos, each with his own plots and desires. Let's see. Forge World characters. Forge Worlds are not environments that reward, let alone tolerate, weakness of the body or mind. To have survived and prospered long enough to leave a Forge World rigid society, a character must possess drive, ambition, good fortune, or at the very least be bloody-minded and ruthless enough to have endured. You find yourself in a wider imperial society that is at once familiar and strangely alien, where fools either fear or profane sacred technology and have no understanding of its spiritual mysteries or purity of essence. Nor do they seem to grasp that men can only prosper by the teachings of the Omniscience, that survival requires power, and power is knowledge incarnate. Okay, so we get -5. Alright. Very clearly, we are not wading into melee with a -8 now to weapons. So get -5 weapon skill. +5 intelligence, though, so that's useful. So we have starting skills, which is common lore, tech, which is int, and common lore mechanicus, which is also an intelligence-based skill. There is a slightly different set of stats than is used in 5th edition D&D or even the older editions of D&D. There are 9 instead of 6, and they are similar but not quite the same. Intelligence is still intelligence, and I'll roll up stats for this guy after we get through here. Our untrained basic skills. So that gives a bonus. Credo Omnissiah. Rather than being fully indoctrinated into the Imperial cult, even the lowliest members of Forge World Society is brought up to properly venerate this machine of the spirits of the machine and taught the basic rites of tech. Propetition. I have never heard this word before. You want to learn a new vocab word? Let's do this. Propitiation. The action of propitiating or appeasing a god spirit or person. Atonement, especially that of Jesus Christ. So, atonement or appeasement for... Oh, tech... How does one pronounce that? That's... Propitiation. 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 Okay. So, we learned a new word tonight. It's propitiation, which is appeasement or atonement. Propitiation. So, tech propitiation. Propitiation. Tech propitiation is the act of appeasing technology, fussing with the machine spirits, learning that sort of thing. It is more commonly called the technical knock talent, which we have. So, I'm going to type, I know it's going to sound silly, but I'm going to type because I think that's really propitiation. I think that's really cool. I always have a good time learning vocabs. Apparently, not everyone does because we're losing viewers. We're just dropping viewers like flies, but that's okay. You know, I don't mind. I appreciate all of you staying and watching, and if you have just always say hi in the chat, I always appreciate that. You don't have to, but you know. A Forge World Okay, so the other thing is a Forge World inhabitant is tested, indoctrinated, and trained from birth for his chosen station and role in life. Weakness is not tolerated, and failure brings painful incentives to do better. Even those who follow an errant path must strive to be better than their peers to survive. Because of this, starting Forge World character may increase a characteristic of his choice by +3. I'm going to write that down, and we will pick which one later after we've rolled. A stranger to the cult. Although Forge World-born citizens know the Emperor is their god and savior, they see the Imperial Creed through the lens of cult mechanicus doctrine. As a result, they can be surprisingly, and sometimes dangerously, ignorant of the common teachings and practices of the ecclesiarchy, often failing to offer its clerics level of deference they expect. Forge World characters suffer -10 penalty on tests involving knowledge of Imperial Creed. Which is an interesting thing for someone who's a zealot to have, but I think I know how this is going to work. And -5 on fellowship test to interact with any member of the ecclesiarchy in formal settings. So fellowship is the statistic that's closest to charisma in 5th edition and other D&D. Okay, so the other two things, which we also have to roll for, are starting wounds and starting fate points. So, fate points. When you play the playing, you get a number of rerolls. Each game session, you get a certain number of fate points or rerolls, which allow you to. There are other things you can do with them, and if you were absolutely entirely going to die, it is possible to burn one to keep your character alive permanently. And there are a few other things. At the GM's discretion, but the main thing is that you can use it for a reroll. Although you can only use one per roll, and you have to keep the second result. So it only pays to do it if you rolled really badly. Although the way checks are set up, if you failed, you know if you succeeded or failed. Degree. Yeah, you know if you succeeded or failed any check, because the way it works is you're trying to roll low. There's a target number, which is sort of like a DC, I would say, that you have to beat when you roll any check. And that number is the ability score basis for whatever you're rolling against, plus any modifiers that you have by being skilled in something, plus any modifiers that the GM decides to throw at you, such as difficult circumstances would give you minuses, make the target number lower, which means it's harder to roll under. Beneficial circumstances, such as having aimed or, being behind somebody when you're trying to shoot them, would give you positives, which would make it easier to roll under. So you want the number to be as high as possible. So you want all your statistics to be as high as possible. You want all of your, bonuses to go up, and then you have to roll under when you roll. Then you want to roll low. That's the idea. So you don't add it to your roll, you add it to the number you have to beat to make the roll. Basically, it's adding or subtracting from the DC, if that makes sense. Not the roll. So fate points is let's see, how many fate points. Roll a d10 to determine a Forge World character starting fate points 1 to 5. Start with 2, 6 to 9, 3, or 10 with 4. So, let's roll. Exactly. Have you played your character yet? Because I know I helped you build up this Seneschal character. Have you actually gotten a chance to play it yet? Alright, ready? We're going to roll for fate points. 7, which is 6 to 9, 3 fate points. So we got 3 fate points. Alright, not bad. Some of the blocks on the origin chart give you more or less fate charts. So you haven't played yet. Alright. It takes a little getting used to, but it is quite exciting. It does get I've jammed a I think, dozens of games of this by now, and played in a few that Zolt DM'd, and they are quite intense, and you do get into some interesting shenanigans. I mean, I suppose you could play it as quite grimdark and intense, but at least I try to add some levity, and so if my my players want to, say, open a pizza parlor on a planet that doesn't have pizza, I let them do it. They had to go and, of course, they had to talk the head of agriculture, who was like the most powerful agricultural dealer in the city, because it was a hive world, so agriculture was very scarce. So there was one woman who controlled everything, or at least most of it, and they had to talk her into letting them have tomatoes, and then she made them go to this other planet to pick up seeds for her in exchange. It was very intense. But yeah, this is, you get into, and being above the law does help when you want to, like, fair enough. Yeah, or like if you're trying to smuggle a body through customs and scare this poor customs worker. She was just trying to maintain the law, and they brought a dead body through and a prisoner, and just, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I don't know about smuggling. I mean, Martin, his character is named Martin, just opened the thing and was like, yeah, see this guy's corpse. And because they had said, oh, we killed him, we killed this suspect, and they were like, well, we have to figure out how to put this down into law. Maybe you could leave the body somewhere we could find it. Local authorities were like bending over backwards trying to figure out how we're going to make this report make sense, when a couple of rogue traders showed up and say, oh yeah, we Molotov cocktailed this. Yeah, it was quite a thing. But yeah, so Rogue Trader does get kind of fun sometimes. To be fair, yes, they are kind of cool. But yeah, so for Rogue Trader games can get kind of exciting and intense, so be prepared for that. Very excited. Oh yes, so okay, so, and then starting wounds. So, the way, actually this will be helpful for you as well. Wounds. So the way health and armor work in Warhammer 40k is each character has a certain number of wounds. Also, the NPC and monsters have the same thing. So they have a number of wounds, and that you can take before things start getting extra serious. And once you've taken that number of wounds, you get like 5 points beyond that, where you get increasingly difficult penalties as you take more and more damage to different parts of the body. And so you the enemy rolls damage, and then it's you subtract your toughness bonus, which is the tens place of your toughness score, and then you subtract your armor, whatever armor you might be wearing that blocks damage. It doesn't make you harder to hit, it just blocks damage. And then once you have that subtracted, you, any damage above that, you actually take, and you subtract from your number of wounds, and when you get down to, 0, you, take, even more damage. You start taking actual penalties to stuff. And that depends on the body part hit, which is rolled randomly, and what type of damage. And it's actually a lot like the crit tables. For those of you who watch Blue Box, which I think some of you do, given the way the raid came in, I think Jay uses them too. The ever mysterious Tim wrote up these crit tables, but it's what part of the body. Although I think for that one, the body part is part of the roll, but it's like what kind of weapon are you using, changes the nature of the crit. Yeah, so that's what the below your maximum, wounds, if you drop below 0 wounds, that's what happens. And then once you get past 5, the 5th critical wound is death by whatever means dictated by the damage taken. And it's grisly and ugly and terrible, and you really, really want to avoid that. So, and then healing takes days or, I mean, psychic healing is possible, but it usually takes days of recovery to bring back the wounds, which usually doesn't matter because a lot of the time you're just on the ship, just vibing for weeks at a time as you travel through the warp, and rolling on the random encounter table there, which has some interesting effects. I have spiced it up, and I believe Martin did when they ran a game, also spiced it up. It is quite interesting. You get some fun ones, but yeah. So, yeah, we're losing more viewers. That's okay. I don't mind if you guys have to leave. Oh, so for Forge World characters, it's a D5 plus 1 to the result of to double starting toughness bonus. So I'm gonna roll. We don't have those stats rolled yet. So what I'm gonna do is roll my D10 and divide by 5 and round divide by 2 and round up as how you do D5s, because I don't have, well, actually I do have one physical D5, but it's in the other over there, so we're gonna go with D10s, and everything in this game is based on D10s, either D10 or percentile or D5. So we're gonna weapons do D10 or D5 damage plus strength. Everything is rolled on percentiles. Any checks or ability checks are rolled percentiles, stuff like that. Boom. 5. So that would be 9, 10 is 10. 7, 8 is 4. 5, 6 is 3. So 3. Yeah. Yeah. We have 3 plus 1 is 4. Plus double toughness. Yeah, it's Impact Miniatures did a whole set of dice that changed the nature of the way these things work. They have unusual numbers of sides, like they have D30, D24, Actually, you know what? Let me get it, because if I can find it. Okay. Alright, in any case, while I look for that, that's a D12, that's a D20, yep. It is a D16. Well, the D4s in this one are wonky. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, that's a D. Also D4, D6, okay. Yep, here it is. Oh, I lost another. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, this is the D5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you roll 3. See, I got the same number, both rolling a D10 and dividing it, and by rolling a D5, which I think means it's supposed to be. So, yeah, this one has a lot of wonky. That's a D7, and it's pretty cool. But yeah, I should put that back. So we have, now we're just, it's a shame because we're just getting to the interesting part. Well, I guess the build up and the rolling on the origin chart, which I'm going to close down for a minute, but the origin chart is here, are interesting, but we were going to roll stats, and which are rolled on D10s, and other things. So let me just put all these back real quick. So 12:35. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it is getting quite late. If any of you have to go to bed, I understand. But I appreciate you staying this long anyway. Okay, so we have starting wounds is 4 plus the toughness bonus, for plus 2 times the toughness bonus, and we will go back up to stats. So the stats are, yes, I know. Okay. 2d5. Oh, it's I've been swimming for an hour and a half now. That is worth noting. Okay. I'm going to roll stats and then okay, so for the stats, the 9 stats are weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, agility, intelligence, perception, willpower, and fellowship. So each one is 2d10 added together for a maximum of 20, plus 25. So it would be somewhere between 27 and 45. Plus, and then you, of course, add in all of the whatever you get from your origin path, and then that's your final starting toughness score. You can then increase it later by using experience points, but yeah, that's how you start. So, sorry. Here's another. Let's find another D10 real quick. Okay, so, so for a random character like this, I'm just going to roll them in order. It does offer two ways of rolling stats in the book. One is to roll the 2d10 plus 20. Another is a point-buy system, wherein they all start at 25, and then you can add a total of 25, or a total of 100 to all of them, but no more than 20 per stat, to give you kind of a points-buy theory of stat increases. So yeah, either roll them all in order or do this point-buy system. I like to do a more D&D inspired approach, wherein if I have players, rather, I have them roll. Amara did this for their game too. I think inspired by mine. What we did was you roll the 2d10 plus 25, roll it 9 times, get 9 numbers, and then assign them as you see fit based on what stat you want your character to have the most of, based on planned play style and career path. But since we're doing this super randomly, I'm just going to roll them in order. We're going to completely random this out. So, I'm going to bring up the dice cam. Let's do it. Let's see. Yes, I know. Sorry, something has to be at me. And we're going to do 2D. Okay, so for strength, or no, weapon. I suppose I could start with strength. I start with strength for D&D characters, so when I'm, or Pathfinder characters, so when I'm rolling these, yeah, weapon skill. Let's do weapon skill is, ooh, that's good. It's a 9 plus 8. So it's 17 plus 25 is, math time, 17 plus 25 is 35, 42. That's going to be good because we're going to lose all of that. Yeah, we have a lot of minuses to weapon skill. So, weirdly good with the blade. Okay. Let's see, ballistic skill, how well can you shoot? That's 2 10s. That is why you store your dice highest side up. Okay, that's 20. That's 40, full on 45, and no minuses. No pluses either, but, you know. Okay, then we got strength. 5 plus 9 is 14. It's a decent strength score. 14 is, plus 25 is 39. As for the how the character ended up becoming raised under the God Emperor's cult while living on a Forge world, there is a sector of the cult Mechanicus, a subsect, if you will, that basically holds that the Emperor is the Omnissiah, and the Omnissiah is the Emperor. They are one and the same, which makes some sense. It's kind of a religious fusion to try to bring the ideals into place. The Emperor is just a manifestation of the Omnissiah, or the human form of the Omnissiah, or, it depends the exact theology, I'm not sure on. But if our captain was raised in that kind of a high religious, of that particular sect, that would bring them the desire to fuel the Emperor and venerate the Emperor, but also this kind of weird Mechanicus vibe that would put off any formal ecclesiarchy and the more common practices among those who solely worship the Emperor on imperial worlds with connection to the wider Imperium. So that is my explanation on the backstory. I think it works quite well, actually. So we'll see. Oh yes, now we keep rolling for stats. Strength is 39. Okay. Toughness. Here we go. Okay, 10 plus 9. That is, you saw that, right? It was a 10. I didn't. 10 plus 9, 19. Okay, 19 plus, so that's 44. It's 44. Although I think we have a minus to that. This guy's shaping out to, this person is, this is really intense. Okay. 2 plus 3, okay, no. Agility. Alright. So, can tank like hell, cannot dodge. Basically, it's a 3 plus a 2. Here, I'll see if I can put this at a better angle. So you can see the 3 a little better. That's 5. Yeah, so 5 plus 25 is 30. Okay. Not terrible. 30 is like the kind of benchmark between, the kind of equivalent, I would say, of, at least in my mind, of having a 10 in a score in Pathfinder D&D, where it's like, you're not terrible, but, you're not taking any penalty, it's not terrible, but not great either. So, we got, agility, 30. Alright, let's roll for intelligence. Now, it's going to be a big one. 3 plus 4. Okay, not very smart. Well, 4, 7, plus 25 is 32. Alright. Perception. How much do they notice? 14. Okay, that's another 10. That's a 4. So 14 is 14. Yes. Plus 25 is 39. Willpower. This is which I think we have a lot of bonuses too, so that's, we might need them. 7 plus 4, not terrible. That's 11, plus 25 is 36. And fellowship. Now this is going to be a big one. We'll see how this goes, because we got very small minus, but 8, so 10. Dead average, more or less. Pretty average. 25% is 35. Okay, now we apply all of the what's it? Okay, so minus 3 on the weapon skill. That brings that down to 39. Minus 5 fellowship, but plus 3, so it's a total of minus 2. So that brings that down to 33. Minus 5 weapons, that's brings it down even further to 34. Plus 5 intelligence, oh, that's good. That brings it up to 37. Plus 3 to any character. Okay, we'll come back to that. Alright, so, yeah, so we get plus 3 to 1. Ballistic score is nice and high, so we're not adding it to that. Weapons is not really important. Strength is, and toughness is absolutely, we're not adding it to that either. Agility could lead to problems down the line, but it's not going to be melee, so maybe not. I would say I'd put it on one of the mental stats. The question is which. I would say fellowship. 36, just because having low fellowship score and being the captain and being in charge of negotiating and all that jazz is not a good look. So we're gonna bump up the fellowship score a little bit. Yeah. Okay, and then that puts, oh yes, so toughness is 44, so 8 plus 2, so 4, yeah, so 8 wounds, which is pretty average. Eight wounds, and yeah, this is good. Okay, so now there's one last thing left to roll, and it is, okay, I've been streaming for it's almost 1. I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. Okay, I don't usually do streams this long, but then everyone flooded in, and I was kind of, wow, okay, got sidetracked a lot. I always appreciate so much the raid. Like, I can't even, I will figure out a way to make it up to Jay, because that is so cool. Of him to do that. I've raided him before, of course, but I've never had more than like 2 or 3 people come. So, we'll have to find a way to make that work, especially because I'm, of course, during all of his stream, working during pretty much all of his streams, which is a whole thing. Right. So we have a few left. Okay. So, intend to do is bring up this chart. My vape chart. Boom. That chart. Okay. I'm gonna have. I knew there was something with the dice cam. Yeah, I moved the dice cam to. No. We're moving it like this. Boom. No, not that either. That. Yeah, there we go. And then if we move it like this. So, there. No, not there. There. Yes, that is where we want. Beautiful. Okay. This is the order I want them in. Okay, so, let me make sure that looks good on you. You guys, yes. Okay. So, we are going to roll percentiles. I'm going to use these. I try to do matching sets for percentiles because vibes. Those, and I said D12, so let's do a D12. There we go. Here, I'm going to move them actually to here. So you can, yeah, because that brings that over to, yes, so you can see them anyway. Okay, that's good. So, I usually cut my streams an hour and a half. I mean, I kept going today because everyone was here, and but we're gonna roll, gender and sexuality, and then, go from there, and then maybe see about names, and then, we can work on our captain, on Tuesday, actually. Also, tomorrow I'm doing a kind of chill setup for the big Saturday stream at like 1:30 p.m. if any of you are interested. And what else? Oh, Saturday 2 p.m. is going to be, that's going to be the most epic stream. But first, we're going to roll this. So, here we go. Let's see if our captain, let's see what our captain's deal is. Probably straight, but 52. Yep, that puts him as straight, because that's a 12. No, 12 is even. Her. That puts her as straight. Okay. Okay. So she's straight. That is not bad. Straight woman. That, I could roll her up so far all the members of the crew are straight, but, you know, that's statistically probable when you have any group of people, with no outside factors being apparent, such as D&D community is, very much less, if you have a bunch of D&D players, it is much less likely that they're all going to be straight because reasons. Okay. So there's that. So straight, her name, what's her name? This is an important question. What is her name? Um, um, there is a set of random charts for generating a name. Okay, do any of you have any suggestions? For names, what we could name her. She could pretty much have any name. I could roll on the chart, or we could, and I have a very clever setup for why she was ended up on a forge world raised by Mechanicus priest that believed in the Omnissiah Empire theory, but when she was a Psychon of a rogue trader house. But that is a whole separate story that might actually play into a larger narrative that I've been working on telling with these characters, and also is going to be a fun thing to build. So yeah, if any of you have any suggestions, put them in the chat. I'm going to bring up the random table just so you can see it. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. Boom. Chart 1. Okay, so we have 2 girls' names table. Here we go. That's that one, which I put in a... Where do I... Well, yeah, because the only way to put it would be to put it here. Yeah, it covers me no matter where I put it. So we're going to put it here. Okay, and I'm going to duck here. Actually, I can scooch this. No, not that. I do is pull this down a little. There you go. Hi. So, as you can see on the chart, there's a whole thing. I would go with high as our rolling, and then roll the percentiles, which we have already set out to roll to see what random one. But if any of you have any suggestions, I really, really like naming characters, taking viewer suggestions for names, because I like when people chat with me, and I want to offer anyone, suggestions. Chivière was only named as a city because someone suggested it in chat. Hofi was named by John of Blue Box, actually. He was one of Claude, the criminal mastermind's henchman. Basically, yeah. Quite a bit of things I name only get named because Blue Box or people our viewers so wish it. Let me try something very quickly. Nope, that doesn't change in it. No, okay, I see how that goes. Okay, never mind, hang on. Like I said, I'm still learning my craft, so forgive any small things. But since you don't seem to have any suggestions, I'm going to just roll it randomly, if you guys are down with that. Yeah, okay, so gonna roll it randomly. Last chance, if anyone in the chat has any really good ideas, put them there now. And if it doesn't work for this character, I can use it for someone else. I do have... Ooh, that's interesting. Alright, so we got the percentiles. I'm going to bring up the... Okay, hang on. Let me bring up the rolling tray, the dice cam. Okay, so this part of the... Okay, so we want to aim here. For now. Alright, any suggestions? Let's see. Nope. Then don't do that. Okay. I guess not. Okay, nope, that is... Go away. Okay. In which case, I'm gonna roll for it. Let's do this. Here we go. Okay, that's a 6. This is... Not... Ooh. 96. That's at the very Oh! Reroll on table. Okay. She's got a male name. That's why we kept thinking he. Okay. That is actually interesting. So we're going to go with... I believe I put the charts in the same place. So let's see. No, I moved it. Okay. We'll move it over here. All right. We're going to roll one of these. Let's do it. So she's got a very masculine name. And we're going to go with hi. Reroll. Let's do it. 47. So 43, 48 is Jarian. Okay, her name is Jarian. Straight woman named Jarian. Okay, her name is Jarian, and she is a Psychon of a Rogue Trader House. Okay, let me do that. Yeah, we're gonna dig more into her story in, later, in another stream, because it is 1 a.m., and I'm sure, at least for the East Coast, that is very, yeah, I'm on East Coast time, so it's 1 a.m., it is late here, and I need to be up early tomorrow to DM a game before work. So, thank you very much for viewing. I really appreciate all of those of you who stayed for the raid, who came in for the raid, who stayed. I do stream quite often. The most recent next stream, if any of you are on Blue Box, I usually post my streaming schedule there for the week. I'm working on finding another way to post it. Tomorrow is 1:30 p.m. after the game. If you want to come by and watch kind of Pathfinder-y stuff instead. Also, this Saturday, 2 days from now, 2 p.m., it is going to be epic. I'm going to do an epic showdown with several Pathfinder characters I've created on stream versus the Flail Snail. Actually, I have the Flail Snail. So it's going to be an epic showdown, and it's going to be a big event, and I would love more people to come. So if you're, bored on a Saturday afternoon and you want to pop in, I would really appreciate it. No pressure. I do Tuesdays and Thursdays, either 11 p.m. or, 11 p.m. on Thursdays always, because of how my schedule works. I always do 11 p.m. on Thursdays. Tuesdays are usually morning, so more like 11 a.m. unless I have some sort of doctor's appointment, in which case about it. But yeah, so if you liked Warhammer, you can come back next Tuesday at 11 a.m. or next Thursday at 11 p.m. for more Warhammer. And thank you so much for joining me. Good night, and yeah, good night.